everyone and welcome back. In my opinion, non-destructive editing is one of the most important practices a beginning Photoshop user should learn. Nothing is more frustrating than applying an edit only to find out later on that you can't undo what you've already applied. Luckily, there are a few features in Photoshop that will allow you to apply most of the same edits non-destructively, which means at any point in the future, you can go back and make changes as needed. The videos in this section will cover many of those features, starting with adjustment layers. Before I show you the magic of adjustment layers, let's look at the mistake many beginners make when editing their photos. Under the image menu, we have the adjustments submenu, which contains many adjustments that will help take your images to the next level. Let's start by selecting the black and white adjustment, and from the preset list, I'm going to choose darker to sharpen up the contrast. Now, pressing OK will apply this adjustment and convert it to a black and white image. Now here's the problem. While at this point, if we decided that the image looked better with color, we can simply undo the adjustment. But what if we were much further along in our edit, or we saved and closed the document? Well, when that happens, you're out of luck. If you apply adjustments to your images directly from the adjustments menu, they are applied directly to your image. So if you wanted to make changes to that adjustment, or you wanted to completely remove it later on in your edit, well, tough luck. Now let's look at how adjustment layers completely changes the way you edit your photos. It all starts in your layers panel. Right at the bottom, the black and white circle is the adjustment layer icon. When selected, you're going to notice many of the same adjustments that you had access to under the adjustments menu, minus a few here and there. Just like before, I'm going to add the black and white adjustment, and select the darken preset. It's the exact same adjustment, but this time instead of the adjustment being applied directly to your image, an adjustment layer was added in our layers panel. Let me add one more. This time I'm going to add a gradient map, and then in my properties panel, I'm going to choose one of Photoshop CS6's new photographic toning presets. Again, notice how a new layer has been added, which contains the gradient map adjustment. If you haven't figured out the advantage of using adjustment layers yet, because the adjustments are added as separate layers rather than direct adjustments, at any point in the future you can simply click on the adjustment you want to make changes to, and back in the Properties panel, you'll find your settings just as you left them. So far so good, right? Adjustment layers are pretty simple to figure out, but you may run into an issue when working with a document that contains many layers like this one. Let's say you wanted to use an adjustment layer to change the color of this button to avoid editing the gradient. Just like you would add any adjustment layer, adding a hue and saturation adjustment can change the color of your layers. However, you're going to notice that as I change the hue value, not only does the button's color change, but everything else under the adjustment changes as well. Clearly this isn't what I intended. Here's how to fix a situation like this. First, make sure that the adjustment layer is right above the layer or group containing the layers that you want to affect. Once it's in place, make sure that the adjustment layer is selected, and then in your Properties panel, this icon right here will clip the adjustment layer to the layer or group directly below it, leaving all other layers as they were. And that's a look at adjustment layers in Photoshop, a way to edit your photos non-destructively. Now there is one more feature that's available when using adjustment layers, but you're going to learn about that in the very next video when we cover layer masks. We'll see you soon.